Talk to me with LowKick MMA. I'm here with Trevor Peek, who returns to action June 24th in Jacksonville, Florida. Trevor, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Trying to put the finishing touches on the rest of this training camp and start winding it down a little bit, man. I feel like I've been in a fist fight or something. I'm about wore out.
Man, you're about, a week and a half out. How are you feeling?
I feel good, man. I feel good. Like I said, I am wore out. My body's I've pushed my body pretty good bit, man. So I got a couple more sparring sessions left, and then the rest of the time I'll be pretty much just turning the motor on and off, just trying to keep what I've built up.
Gotcha, gotcha. It's been about 4 months since your UFC debut. It was a violent UFC debut. How'd you feel about your performance?
I liked it. I had a good time. A lot of the things I did got me. It blew my name up a lot. So I'm pretty happy with it. There was a lot of things like my wrestling looked like garbage. But I didn't respect his wrestling at all. I am a lot better than I showed in there. So but I'm figuring I'll have to deal with that for the next several fights. You know what I mean? I looked pretty sloppy in there with my wrestling, so I'm sure a lot of people's going to try to capitalize on that. But good luck.
Was that kind of just like you wanted to go in there and just kind of fight? Like it didn't matter about wrestling. You used to, like it looked like you went in there with a mission, like you wanted to put on a show and introduce yourself to the UFC audience.
Yeah, really, we had a totally different game plan designed around, Alex Reyes. And then when we had the opponent switch, my coach was just like, go be you, man. Just go be you, have fun, go be you. So I felt like I did that. I had, just a blast in there, man. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life.
One of the big things that people pointed out and was like a big talking point after your fight, where you were throwing hammer fists as punches.
Oh, yeah, man. I gotta keep it a little wild in there. It's a Honestly, I wasn't planning on throwing them. That wasn't part of the game plan. It's just my instincts took over, man. And I've got a violent IQ with instincts, man. So they kind of take over and pull me through sometimes. So it was fun.
Do you practice those hammer fist punches?
I do, yes, sir. Yeah, I mainly practice them on the punching bag, but if we've got like 16-ounce gloves on and I've got a decent amount of padding in this area, I'll throw them in my sparring sessions and stuff. And I'd actually, before that last fight, my last probably 2 weeks of sparring, I started throwing them on. I wasn't even trying to, and I even pulled my head coach to the side and I was like, "Man, I'm sorry, I'm throwing them punches like that." I said, "I don't know where them's coming from really," but and then I got in the fight and throwing the crap out of them. So
Just talk to me about your UFC debut, man. Like what were the emotions like after the win, man? You've been fighting since 2013, right? But there was a little break in between where you came back to fighting. And then you went pro in 2020, but like so it was a kind of a fast rise to the UFC, but like you've been in this game for a long time and just life is you've had a crazy fucking life up until this point. So like how what were the emotions like when you got that first UFC win?
kind of just sat there and was like, I did it. You know what I mean? That's what I was doing the interview earlier, and I was telling that guy, I like kind of had to just sit down and take it all in. You know what I mean? It was really an overwhelming, just, you know what I mean? Like, I've done it. I just sat there and kind of was like, I did it, man. Was just kind of proud of myself in a humble, grateful way. But I was proud of myself. It's been through a lot, man. It's been a tough journey getting in that UFC octagon. A lot of trials, a lot of tribulations, as is, about I'd say every other fighter in the world. So whenever you get there, man, and you own the moment and you kind of do what you set out to do, it's such a beautiful feeling. I wished everybody in the world could feel that feeling, at least one time in their life to work so hard for something and to be able to achieve it, man. It's just such a great feeling and such a blessing.
When you got home, back with your family, back with your team, how did you celebrate?
Just really got back after it, man. Started training again. We really just trained. Wasn't nothing too crazy. I went and, spent some time with some family members and stuff like that. People I hadn't really got to see a whole lot because, man, when these training camps are going on, you kind of just got to be selfish and pull away from, all these people that you love and care about. And really you got to be selfish, man. So I just went around trying to spend time with them folks, people that I miss and everything. So nothing too crazy, just really back to the drawing board, back to, game planning and figuring out when and where we're going to fight again.
Well, the where and when is Jacksonville, Florida. Second UFC fight, and you get a sold out crowd. I know that's something that you kind of wanted in your UFC debut, but you got it now. So are you excited to be in front of a UFC crowd?
Oh man, I can't tell you how excited I am to be in front of this crowd. I mean, I'm just, I feel a little bit, I felt a little bit contained at the Apex, man. I'm meant to be in front of people. I love the pressure and love the crowd and just the rowdiness and the UFC crowd. They're different, man. They're so different. They're rowdy, and I'm here for it. I'm here for the chaos. I'm so here for it, man. I just and it's fairly close to home. Most of my fans be driving anywhere from 5 to 7 hours, and that's pretty doable. So I've got a good group. I think I'm guessing anywhere from probably at least 200 people, if I would say so. Yeah, I'm excited, man. I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. If the world thinks I'm wild at the Apex, I can't wait till they see me in front of a crowd, man. I'm gonna be cutting loose.
Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Awesome. Well, you are fighting Victor Martinez. As one of your thoughts on the matchup?
I mean, I love the matchup, man. It's an exciting fight. He's not too grapple heavy. I think after my last performance, I do expect him to try to get it to the ground. I don't expect him to be able to keep me there. But he's shown in the past that he's got a little bit of a brawler mentality, and I'm looking to bring that out of him, man. I shine in them moments. So if we're slinging leather, I'm here for it. I love the matchup, man. It's he does some things really really well, but he's got a couple of little tendencies that me and my coaches have picked up on that I really think that I can exploit and get him out of there fairly quick.
What do you think of his UFC debut?
Who was it he debuted against again?
Jordan
Levitt.
Levitt.
I mean, I thought he looked decent for the most part, but there at the end, it seemed like a little bit of quit surfaced. So I mean, if it and it that's a monster for me to know, man. I mean, if I'm just being honest, if I ever see a little bit of quitting there, it's just I'm like a dog on the hunt, man. I'll find it and I'll beat you until I bring that quit out. So I mean, I know it's in there and I'm gonna find it. I will find it, man. I promise I'll find it.
So you mentioned, he likes to stand and bang, but do you feel once he feels your pressure, feels your power, he's going to resort to wrestling?
I do. I do. I believe that's going to be most definitely in his game plan. I mean, you got an individual like me that's on just an absolute knockout run. I mean, I 8-0 all by finishes. So I mean, and especially with that last performance that I had, I mean, if I was going to fight me, I would be trying to get me down to the ground as quickly as possible. So, I mean, that's just if I was his team, that's what I would be trying to do. So, I mean, we're ready for that. And, we're kind of expecting that type of fight, honestly. I think he will try to take it to the ground. And I don't blame him if he does on it, really. So,
Yeah, I mean, on paper, it's a very fun fight and it should not last very long. So at the end of the day, June 24th, how do you get your hand raised?
I knock out. I mean, knockout for 100% sure. I mean, I'm all for snatching a submission up, man. I mean, if something's there, I'm going to take it. But I mean, I wouldn't mind finishing out this whole ride with all knockouts. I mean, but I mean, I don't want people to get it, take me lightly as far as submission goes, man. I will snatch a neck up or an arm, if somebody sticks something out there. So
How important is your 100% finish rate?
everything. I mean, it means everything to me, man. I had fought in an amateur fight a long time ago, and in the third round, I thought I had done enough to win. And I remember telling myself in that fight, I said, I've done enough to win. And, he ended up reversing me at the very end of the round and kind of broke loose into a scramble. And ultimately, we was near his hometown, and, the judges edged it out and give it to him in a split decision. And I told myself at the end of that fight, I was like, I'll never ever think I've done enough. I'll never again think that I've done enough, man. So anytime I'm in there, I am absolutely trying my best to get the finish, and I'm trying to get that bonus, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely, dude. I did want to ask, What did you do with the $50,000?
I just had some old debt, trying to clear up stuff like that, trying to invest a little bit of it in a couple places, maybe plan out my future and stuff, and then held on to some of it, man, trying to keep me enough where I can hopefully just stay in training full time and not have to break away. So this last fight, man, I was working two jobs before the fight, and then I almost took on a third one, but I didn't take it. So I mean, I was working extremely hard and training extremely hard for this last fight, and I'm just trying. I ain't gotta have all this fancy stuff, man. I just need enough to get by until I, get to where I want to be at in my career as far as getting paid, paid more. So I'm just trying to hold on enough to get to that.
So for this fight camp, have you been a full-time fighter?
Yeah, yeah, I've been in here the whole time, man. It's been wonderful. Most of my camps I've had to work a lot, and then I've been fortunate enough to where, living at the gym here, I can pull off the last, 3 or 4 weeks and then try to dial everything in. But, this last training camp, I've been able to pretty well stay in the gym, and it's helped out a lot.
Awesome. Awesome, man. Just two last ones for me. Um, how active do you want to be this year? Say you go out there, spark Victor. I did want to ask, like, is a 2 week turnaround uh, out of the question because they are going to Tennessee on August 5th?
Yeah, I'll have it'll be a little bit more than that. I think I'll have exactly 6 weeks after the June fight. I've got big plans, man. We're hoping to stay active. That's all I'll say.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. Trevor, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. If you want to plug your social media, plug any sponsors you might have, and if you want to thank anybody, the floor is yours.
I just want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for, blessing me and putting me in this position in my life where I can, reach folks and hopefully build a good life for, me and my future family. And thank all my coaches here at Agogi Combatives, Matt Harris, Sterling Peace, Larry Scott, and then my striking coach, Jeff Powell, all my training members here at Agogi. They're just so wonderful. And all my family, friends, fan base, man, you guys are my heart. Y'all are what keeps this old boy going, and I'm just excited to be able to see you guys here in another week and a half, man. Y'all are my heart. But thank you guys.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.